Today, we're flying on Canada's second largest airline, WestJet, in business class on their 787-9 from Calgary to Tokyo Narita. We'll see if flying in business class with WestJet is worth it compared to flying in economy or premium, how it compares to Canada's largest airline, Air Canada, and what it's really like to fly in WestJet, who, in case you weren't aware, has been making headlines lately for wanting to not only implement seats with a minuscule 28-inch or 71-centimeter row pitch, but also seats that don't recline at all. Granted, to be fair, that was for economy, and they did backtrack those changes after public outcry, but it does give us some insight into the current mentality of WestJet, and personally, also makes me wonder where else they might be trying to claw back from customers. But first, our trip starts off here at Calgary Airport.
Hi, so I'm currently here at Calgary Airport in the lounge, and as a WestJet Business Class passenger, you can actually access two different lounges here in Calgary Airport. The first is the WestJet Elevation Lounge. That lounge is located in Terminal B, which is the domestic terminal. And then the second one that you can access is the one that I'm sitting in right now, which is the Aspire Lounge, and this one is located in Terminal D, which is the international terminal. The two terminals are connected post-security, so you can just walk in between them. It's about a 10-minute walk. There are, of course, differences between the two lounges, so I'm going to give you guys a quick peek at both of them. I'm going to let you know what the differences are between the two lounges. That way you can decide for yourself which one better suits your needs, or if you have enough time, you can actually visit both lounges. But first, let me show you the WestJet Elevation Lounge, and then I will show you this lounge, the Aspire Lounge.
The WestJet Elevation Lounge is located in the domestic terminal at Concourse B. But like I mentioned earlier, all the terminals are connected post-security in Calgary Airport, so you can still access this lounge even if you're flying internationally like we are today. Although I should mention that you won't be able to access this lounge if you're flying to the United States. WestJet Elevation Lounge is 9,300 square feet or 864 square meters. There is a full-service bar and alcoholic beverages are complimentary. There's also self-service, non-alcoholic beverages like coffee, tea, juice, and soda available. What they don't have, however, is a self-service buffet. Instead, you'll use the QR codes on the tables where you can order food and it will be prepared and brought to your table. Here's a quick look at the app and the type of food that's available, at least during the breakfast hours, which was when I was at the lounge. Other services in this lounge include a family area for children, as well as shower rooms. I wasn't able to check out the shower rooms since they were fully booked, but they are available if you need them. Alright, now let's take a quick look at the Aspire International Lounge, which is located in the International Terminal by gates D83. You'll have to take an elevator up to get to them. The Aspire International Lounge can accommodate up to 90 passengers and has quite a bit of different types of seating available. One of the primary differences between the Aspire Lounge and the WestJet Elevation Lounge is that the Aspire Lounge has a self-service buffet. Personally, I do think that the food at the WestJet Elevation Lounge was better, especially since it's made to order, but the food at the Aspire Lounge was decent enough. The next major difference between the lounges is the bar. The bar here at the Aspire Lounge is self-service and has a small selection of spirits, wine, and beer available. And the final major difference is the shower rooms. While both lounges have shower rooms available, the ones in the WestJet Elevation Lounge are complimentary, but the shower rooms at the Aspire Lounge do have a $10 charge, so make sure you go to the WestJet Elevation Lounge if you want to save some cash on taking a shower. Alright, that's it for the lounges. Let's head on over to the gate now for our flight. Our flight today is departing from gate D76.
Good afternoon and welcome to WestJet Flight 80 with service to Narita, Tokyo. Welcome here boarding Zone 1, Zone 1.
Our 787-9 today has 16 seats in business class with a 1-2-1 configuration. Today, we'll be seated in seat 4A, which is the last row next to the window. The seats have a width of 21 inches or 53 centimeters and a row pitch of 46 inches or approximately 117 centimeters. Here's a quick little peek at what the center seats look like. The center seats do have a privacy divider in between that can be opened and closed depending on how much you like or maybe dislike your neighbor. The side table contains a storage area with a remote for the IFE, a headphone jack, USB-A port, as well as a universal AC power outlet. There's also a second smaller storage compartment with a mirror as well. Here's what the footwell space looks like. In true reverse herringbone fashion, it's wider near the front and narrows towards the back. The armrest moves up and down, and inside the armrest, you'll find a bottle of water as well as the headphones, which we'll take a look at a little bit later. Before takeoff, we're given a hot towel for our hands as well as a welcome drink. For the welcome drink, there was a choice between water or champagne, and I chose the champagne, which was this non-vintage Bessarade de Bellefond Grand Tradition brew. Sorry about my French. And after the safety video plays and we take off, the crew gets started on a welcome service about an hour after we're in the air. I pop out my tray table from under the IFE, and then it gets dressed with a tablecloth. As a welcome snack, we're given 2 packs of cashews, a spicy dill pickle flavor as well as a caramel with sea salt flavor. Both of these were really good. I also ordered their signature cocktail, which was called Airplane Mode, which was crafted with Sprite, apple juice, a choice of gin or vodka, and a lemon wedge. This drink is actually exclusive to WestJet's Business Class on the 787, so definitely give it a try if you get a chance. It's quite good. Okay, now let's take a quick peek at the menu. Here's what we have to look forward to for the main meal, which is lunch, the pre-arrival meal, as well as the beverage menus. The appetizer arrives first. There was a choice between butternut squash soup or miso glazed prawns. I went with the miso glazed prawns, which were served with a yuzu cucumber salad. And this was really light and refreshing, and the shrimp were really quite juicy. We were also given a side garden salad with Italian dressing and some bread and butter. I also wanted to take just a quick moment of appreciation for the cutlery. It comes wrapped in a white cloth napkin, of course, but I noticed that they also used a real metal napkin ring, which is actually not that common. I feel like a lot of airlines just use disposable paper napkin ring, so it was a small but nice touch. Next came the main. There was a choice between beef tenderloin, salmon, or Japanese golden curry. I went with the mustard-crusted beef tenderloin, which was served with green beans, carrots, mashed potatoes, and a brandy cream sauce. This just tasted like a really thick hamburger patty. It was cooked well though, and the brandy sauce was flavorful, so no complaints here. I give it a 7.5 out of 10. For dessert, there was a choice between a cheese plate or a raspberry cream tart. I chose the raspberry cream tart, and it was delicious. The perfect balance between the tartness of the raspberries and the sweetness from the cream. Alright, now that lunch is done, let's check out the amenities. This is what the Amenity kit looks like. It's a denim pouch by Canadian brand Herschel Supply Co. I have to say, it's quite nice to see WestJet as a Canadian airline using Canadian products and brands. Inside the Amenity kit, there's a dental set, a pair of socks, earplugs, lotion, lip balm, and a refreshing towel from Canadian brand Graydon, as well as an eye mask. You'll also get a pair of slippers, and this is what they look like. Okay, it's now time for the lavatory tour. There is one dedicated lavatory at the front of the business class cabin for all 16 business class passengers. In terms of amenities, there are soaps and lotions by Canadian company Rocky Mountain Soap. Again, it's nice to see WestJet supporting and using other Canadian companies. The sink faucet is automatic, but unfortunately, the garbage bin is not. There's no foot pedal either, so you will have to manually open the garbage bin using your hands. Alright, let's head back to our seats now. Back at our seats, it's now time for us to go into full lie-flat mode. In fully lie-flat mode, the seat is 79 inches or approximately 200 centimeters. In terms of bedding, you'll get a standard-sized pillow as well as a blanket. The blanket is really nice. It's really a very soft velvet material, but unfortunately, there is no mattress pad, which makes the bed slightly uncomfortable, especially since there's a bit of a gap in the seat here when it's in 180-degree lie-flat position. It's not horrible by any means though. I'd rate the bed a 7 out of 10, but with the addition of a nice mattress topper, it could potentially be bumped up to an 8 or a 9. Here's what the footwell space looks like when it's in lie-flat mode. Still lots of room for your feet. Okay, now let's take a look at the IFE, which is an 18-inch or 45.7 centimeter HD touchscreen display. In terms of entertainment, there was a good selection of new releases as well as classics for both the movies and TV shows. And I did find that most of the TV shows had full seasons as well, so that was nice to see. For those of you curious about staying connected, there is Wi-Fi available, but it will cost you. It's $2.99 Canadian for messaging or $21.99 Canadian for full internet for the entire flight. A bit of a drag since most airlines at least offer free messaging these days. Now let's take a look at the headphones. They are noise cancelling, and I found the padding to be quite soft and comfortable. In terms of sound quality, they're quite good, which works out well since the iFi does not have Bluetooth capability, so you won't be able to use your own headphones unless you bring an adapter. I do have to say that my pair looked a little bit worn and beat up. They've definitely seen some things. Okay, now for my snack lovers, let's check out the galley to see what's available. There was a basket of snacks set up really nicely that had some chips, chocolate cookies, granola bars, chocolate bars, and cashews. There was even some hand sanitizer as well. And the most unique item found in the snack basket were these Japanese arrival card forms. Delicious. Okay, so before we get to the pre-arrival meal, let's talk about how much all this cost. Keep in mind, as always, prices are dynamic, so the prices here are only reflective of the flight that I took on this specific route on this specific day. If you're looking at prices, you might see ones that are higher or lower than what I got due to the dynamic nature of pricing. Also, the fares I'm showing are in Canadian dollars for a one-way fare. The reason why I booked a one-way fare is because I did book an award space on the way back. Alright, so now let's get into it.
Alright, so let's talk about how much all this cost. So one way between Calgary and Tokyo Narita was just under $1,400 Canadian. But what was a little bit funny was this was one of those situations where I guess all the lowest fares for premium economy had already been purchased and only the highest fares for premium economy are left. And there were still the lowest fares for business class available because premium economy was actually more expensive than business class when I was looking at these flights. Premium economy was $2,250 Canadian, and then economy was around $1,000 Canadian, which I always find really amusing. This has happened to me a few times before where premium economy was more expensive than the business class fare. Even if we're just looking at the economy though, I mean, basically $400 more to fly in a lie flat seat in business class. For me, it is a no-brainer, and I thought this was a really, really great deal.
It's now time for the pre-arrival meal. There was a choice between chicken karaage or vegetarian gyoza. I went with the chicken karaage. This was a little bit soggy, but the flavor was good and the chicken was tender. It was served with an egg fried rice, broccoli, and there's also a side of fruit and some cheese and crackers.
Alright, so we're about to land in about 30-ish minutes or so, but the one last thing that I want to mention about WestJet Business Class on the Dreamliner is that unless you're flying to or from Calgary to one of their longer haul destinations, so between Canada and Europe or Canada and Asia, that aircraft swap is highly, highly likely. This is actually my third attempt at trying to take the 787, and I guess third time's the charm. The two other previous times, I was scheduled to take the Dreamliner, once to Mexico and once to the Caribbean, and the aircraft got swapped at the last minute. So keep that in mind. I know sometimes you look at flights and it'll say that, you know, it's going to be the Dreamliner going to the Caribbean or to Mexico, or sometimes even between Toronto and Vancouver. In the past, they've scheduled the Dreamliner, but you should expect the aircraft swap unless you are going to one of the longer haul destinations to Asia or Europe, like I mentioned before.
Okay, so as we make our descent into Tokyo, let's talk about WestJet Business Class a little bit. Overall, I think WestJet Business Class does provide exceptional value, especially if you're able to snag it at a price like I got. Even with round-trip pricing, it would have been less than $3,000 Canadian, which is still great. It was also around half the cost of what Air Canada was charging, so this was a slam dunk for me personally. When comparing WestJet Business Class on the 787 to Air Canada's Business Class on their 787, the seats themselves are identical. Both use Collins Aerospace Super Diamond seats, with the only differences between them being minimal. I'll put up the small differences up here on the screen. Downside to WestJet Business Class though, in my opinion, is that you pretty much have to be flying either to or from Calgary specifically, and most likely to one of their longer haul routes in order to fly this aircraft in business class. But sometimes it might be worth it to make the connection to Calgary if you can to find a great price like I did. Even after I factored in the cost for me to fly from Toronto, where I'm from, to Calgary first, I still paid almost half the cost of what Air Canada was charging. But let me know what you think about WestJet Business Class. And as always, if you've enjoyed the video, please do like it and subscribe so that we can fly together again soon.